We are a sixth way through the season here in the Wawa Cup Series 2023 season. And today we go from one mile-long racetrack to another. Just this time on the East Coast of the United States instead of the West Coast. The West Coast swing is done and we're now back on the East Coast here in the Wawa Cup Series as we head to the Rockingham Speedway in Rockingham, North Carolina for the Cheerwine 400 here in the 2023 Wawa Cup Series. Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to Rockingham Speedway in Rockingham, North Carolina for race number 6 of the season here in the Wawa Cup Series. This is the Cheerwine 400, 99 laps of action around this 1.017 mile long racetrack. Definitely excited for this one. We had a great race in the Sprint Series on Wednesday. We saw ourselves 3 lead changes in that 23-lap event, and we didn't even get through a full cycle in that race. And the big story that we had on Wednesday was the tire wear. We talked up the tire wear quite a bit. Well, the reason why is because we're really going to see the effect of that here today in this 99-lap event. We have about a 53 to 56-lap fuel run. But once we get to the end of that run, the lap times are going to fall off by 3.5 seconds. And we're on a mile-long racetrack, so it is really going to slow down, but it's really going to get interesting, and it's going to be very fascinating to see how these drivers and teams manage their tires in this race, because that's going to be the #1 thing to going to victory lane here in the Cheerwine 400. Join alongside one of the owners, a new owner, not a new owner, but a new co-commentator for the first time, Caleb Rose, joining alongside me, the owner of Appalachian Motorsports. You got Nicholas Sambadio and Logan Williams as your team here in the Wawa Cup Series. They kind of start a little bit deeper in the field, especially Sambadio, but it's a long race, 99 laps. With that tire wear in mind, what's the strategy that your guys are going to have to do to get to victory lane here at Rockingham?
Yeah, well, I think the big part about Rockingham, like you said during the Sprint Series, is that this track will eat up tires and leave no crumbs. So you want to try to get through the field as quick as you can, or else once those tires get worn out, it's going to get harder and harder to pass. So Nicholas Sambadio definitely has his work cut out for him. He's really going to have to show today why he is Mr. Edge. And Logan Williams actually starting up there pretty good, so he's sitting pretty in a good spot to maybe get a good finish here.
We're just going to have to see how it all goes down with these 40 drivers in the field. And Nicholas Sambadio, we talk about him a lot on this channel, going to be the points leader coming in this race. A great run at Phoenix, and after the issues Matt Tuck had, Matt Tuck was well on his way to winning that race at Phoenix last week, and had his issues late in the going and fell 4 spots in the point standings, and that gave way to Sambadio taking the points lead away. But like I mentioned, Sambadio starting deep in the field in that number 59. Echo Evans-Ross, she starts in the 2nd position here today. She's only 9 points off that points lead. Christian Master with a great run this season, only 12 points behind. Seth Cole is 20 points behind, and then Matt Tuck 23 points behind after he almost won at Phoenix. And arguably, if Luna Malone did not have the issues she had in that race, he probably would have gone on the victory lane, but then had a engine expire on the penultimate lap of the race, which sent him back below the 30th position, and because of that, he comes into this race 5th in the point standings. So we're still very early on, only a quarter of the way through the regular season, so a lot of time before we set the chase, but we're going to start seeing those ratings really come into play here shortly, and we may even see it here today at Rockingham. And you definitely want to get your points while you can, because before you know it, time will run out, and we'll have our 12 drivers battling for a championship in the final 10 races of the season. One of those drivers who won't be part of that, we know for sure, is Dale Johnson II, who's a Sprint Series driver. Yes, a Sprint Series driver won the pole here for this Cheerwine 400, and Dale Johnson II, he won on Wednesday in the Wawa Sprint Series for NS Racing, and here he is, leading us to the green flag alongside the 39 machine of Echo Evans-Ross for Hamill Racing Enterprises. I think that's her best starting position all season long coming into this race, 2nd in the points. Trinity Ida, she's got a good run there, starting 3rd behind her teammate, and then Brian Webb alongside her there in row number 2. Got the number 51 of Justin Zidell to be inside of Trey right there in row number 3. And I said Logan Williams didn't have a good starting position. I don't know what I was seeing. I saw Sambadio in the back, and I mistakenly assumed he was in the back. He's starting 7th alongside Zachary Fitzwater, and these are 2 drivers who could very much use a good run here today. They've not had good seasons up to this point, the 2 veterans, but a great opportunity for them to get a good run here at Rockingham, starting top 10, and then Brad Stover and Ladovic Charette there round out the top 10 starting positions here at the Rockingham Speedway for the Cheerwine 400. We'll go ahead and get these guys to roll off here from the Rockingham Speedway. Make sure everybody rolls off okay. One thing I would like to mention as we get this race started, watch out for the exit of turn number 2. If they go 3 wide, that could be a bit of a trouble spot there. That wall creeps up on that outside lane car pretty fast sometimes, and if they're not careful, they could wreck. But hopefully we do not see that, especially on the first lap of the race. And Caleb, who do you think is going to get to race victory lane here in the Cheerwine 400? A very strong field and a lot of newcomers kind of up front here to start this race here at Rockingham.
Honestly, I kind of like where that 51 Dreadnought Sport car of Justin Seidel is sitting. I think he's in a good spot to get that win today. But also, you got to give a call to Dale Johnson the second. If that doesn't get teams scrambling for a pin in a contract, I don't know what will.
We're just going to have to see what his career holds. Who knows? Maybe he'll go to victory lane today. We got 99 laps to figure it out. We're ready to get underway at the Rock, and it's green flag in the Cheerwine 400. Trinity Ida with a good jump there at the start of the race, but Dale Johnson the second's gonna lead lap number 1 here at Rockingham as a Sprint Series driver. Now, when we were at Las Vegas, the Sprint Series drivers did such an excellent job holding on to the front, but they couldn't quite get it at the end. As this race goes along, though, I think those ratings are really going to come into play, and I'm not sure if Dale Johnson's going to quite have the speed on the veterans. But Trinity Ida's here. Theoretical teammate, or, you know, it's not theoretical teammate. They are teammates in NS Racing right there. She's up to second, and your pick to win, Justice Idell. Those three have pulled away here early on. Logan Williams, your driver there in 4th, and then Joey Hightower. He's had a tough season up to this point, but he's up to the 5th position here at Rockingham.
Stuff so far from Williams, as we saw Brad Stover getting the wall off at turn 2.
Ooh,
and,
someone had an issue. Sebastian Kukulon, and I think I kind of saw some in there at the start of the race. Might have shot that outside wall, but we just didn't end up with a wreck, and he's already a lap down. Tough break for Kukulon early on in this race here at Rockingham. Brian Webb a little wide off the corner. But relatively speaking, a nice clean start here. However, Echo Evans-Ross, she started outside pole. She's already outside the top 20 in that 39 machine. Not at all what she wanted, and I'm wondering if there's something wrong in that 39 machine.
Yeah, even on the outside, she is looking a little bit slow. I don't know if it was just a bad start, didn't get through the gears well. She is dropping back, and she has some damage on the right side, so I wonder if that's what's going wrong for the 39.
Very interesting start to this race, but we keep it clean for now. Dale Johnson the second, keeping it clean up front, holding on to this race lead, and how about this? He went on to victory lane on Wednesday night in the Wawa Sprint Series, his first career win, and here he is in the Wawa Cup Series race. Starting off the race very strong. Trinity Ida, though, this is the best run she has had all season. She's yet to get a top 10 yet this season here in the Wawa Cup Series for NS Racing. Of course, her teammate Travis Crampton won at Las Vegas 2 weeks ago, but I know she'd love to go to victory lane as a development driver to Noah Clifton, and I know you want this guy to go to victory lane as well. Logan Williams, a great run for him there for Appalachian Motorsports, and gentleman right alongside me, Caleb Rose. Logan Williams there, running 3rd right now. You could have a good opportunity of possibly getting around these guys. Trinity Ida, she's going to have a shot here on Dale Johnson, I feel like, at some point. Those cars are equal. I don't know if the drivers are equal when it comes to the ratings, because, of course, the full-time guys do have the adjustment in the ratings, while the Sprint Series drivers do not. Logan Williams, though, he's all over the back bumper of Trinity Ida here for a second. We'll have to see if he gets around the 97. LJ Semedo there, up to the 4th position, and Allier, a great run for here. She's top 5 after she won the first 2 races of the season. And Fitzwater has had a tough season in this number 9 coming into this race. Currently running top 10 right now for Everbell Motorsports. Great run for him, at least at the moment.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing a lot of these drivers that have had tough seasons, like Fitzy and Logan Williams run up here. That is just very nice to see.
Logan Williams here trying to get around Trinity Ida for the 2nd position. I'm not seeing as much passing as I thought we were going to see. We saw a lot more passing in the sprint race. And just as I say that, Williams going to go ahead and take 2nd away from Trinity Ida. And that 95 might have a shot at getting around this 96 at some point. We'll have to see how it all goes down. LJ Semedo closing in. He looks pretty fast in the 71. And Semedo had a good run at the Phoenix Raceway last week as well. So definitely excited to see what he can do. Now, this is not a short track, unlike Phoenix. The chassis type for this racetrack is a speedway. So when you adjust speedway ratings as a driver, this is the track that is affected. Not Phoenix, though. Phoenix was a short track and saw slightly different results in that one. Great run here for Hightower, running 5th. They've spread out quite a bit up front here, which is going to be interesting, especially if this race stays green, because the tire strategy, the pit strategy is going to really come into play, especially as these tires wear out. Like I said, about a 53-lap fuel run in this race, and once we get to that point, if we remain green, these guys are going to be going very slow, but they're not going to remain green. Sam Adio, Laura Chung, Roberto Crown Jr., Brady Mardi Gras down the backstretch, and our first caution of the day here in the Cheerwine 400.
Yeah,
no,
like
you didn't want to see that.
Yeah, it's a little tough to see as a team owner. But you said in the pre-race, turn 2 was the trouble spot, and it looks like it's going to strike for the first time this race on lap 12.
And it has. That's going to be an opportunity for these guys to come down. I feel like the way the tire wear is here, if you don't come down, you're going to really be giving up a lot of time. We'll see if anyone does, in fact, stay out here, and it looks like everybody in the top 10 is coming down at least. Now, they will still have to make another stop in this race after this, so it's a guaranteed 2-stop race here in the Cheerwine 400, and Dale Johnson, the second, leads him down the pit lane. He led every lap at the start of that race right there. Logan Williams was closing in, but maybe an opportunity for Dale Johnson to catch his breath right here. We'll have to see what he can do. Lap 13 to 99, we'll see what the 96 does. I would imagine it's going to be a 4-tire stop for most of these drivers, considering how much of a worn-out racetrack this is. As we have seen in the past, the tire wear is heavily significant, probably more so than any other racetrack we go to, maybe even Darlington, because that's another one where tire wear is also very significant. Follow here with Dale Johnson II, see if he wins the race off the pit lane. Looks like, a bit of a slow stop there. No. We saw this at Las Vegas with Drew Webb. Drew Webb led the first few laps, and he had a slow stop there, and tough break for Dale Johnson II. He's going to fall back, but I'm sure you're happy about what you just saw right there. Logan Williams takes the lead off the pit lane, and he's going to lead us to the restart when we get back here in the Cheerwine 400. Well, we finally had that 3-wide actually result in a caution. We saw what happened the first lap of the race between Sebastian Kukulon and Rogel Dorn, and similar incident here with Laura Chung, Brady Mardi Gras to her inside, and Roberto Crown Jr. I feel so bad for him. Where are they in points? So 22nd. They've actually not done too bad, but they've had a lot go on to them that it's just completely out of their control there in that 21 machine. And Nicholas Samadia, man, I feel bad for you, Caleb, there. I mean, Samadia had a bad starting position. I feel like he could have moved up fairly well on this race, but wasn't exactly the case there for Sam Adio, Mardi Gras, or Laura Chung. The good thing is none of these drivers will be out of the race after this accident. The only driver out is Kukulon, as we saw in the replay of that one earlier on. He blew his engine or had something go horribly amiss right when that impact occurred. But thankfully, all these guys will be able to continue here in the Cheerwine 400.
In instance, a 3-wide Rockingham does not work if you don't execute it right. Ends up with a collection of cars in the inside wall, including our points leader, Nicholas Samadio. Just one of the unfortunate sides of starting in the back. Have a chance to get collected in some stuff like this.
Yeah, tough break for our points leader. He'll still remain in the top 10 in points after this race. I mean, he's still got a long ways left to go, and he didn't accumulate too much damage, so good opportunity for him to get a good run after this one. For all those guys, I think they'll have something go their way. I don't know. We'll just have to see how it all goes down. Dale Johnson, a bit of a slow stop after the Sprint Series driver led the first 11 laps of this race, or 12 laps, can't remember how many it is. Logan Williams, your driver, now out front here at Rockingham. We'll have to see what he does on the restart here in the Cheerwine 400. We're back here at the Rockingham Speedway. Don't mind the little ticker there. Forgot to give that away. Logan Williams won the race off the pit lane after an accident down the backstretch, which involved his teammate Nicholas Samadio. Trinity Ida here is second. LJ Semedo, Joey Hightower, and Justin Zidell. That's the top 5. Fitzwater running in the top 10. Great run out of Fitzwater here. As we're going to restart on lap 16 of 99. Pace cars down the pit lane. And the only driver out of the race is Sebastian Kukulon, in the 52. From the first lap incident when he slammed the outside wall. Great jump there for Logan Williams on the restart, and fresh tires on all 40 drivers, all 39 drivers, I should say, still out there on the racetrack. And Semedo going for second there on Trinity Ida.
He said the 71 might be fast, and it looks like he definitely is as he gets past the 97 of Trinity Ida. Trying to hound down the 95 of Logan Williams.
Definitely noticed the speed differential. I mean, we were only 15 or 13 laps into that run, and we could already tell visually that they were going a bit slower than they did at the start of the race, and now that all these guys have fresh tires, they are flying around this place, but it won't be like that for long. This place is going to eat those tires up. Hightower up the second. Seidel there in fourth. And then Fitzwater there in the fifth position. And here goes Semedo to the inside of Logan Williams for the top position. And Semedo for Trinity, or for Titan Fury Racing. I made that mistake on Wednesday night as well. They both start with T and they're both racing. LJ Semedo taking it away from Logan Williams. And he's going to make that one look easy on lap 18.
Logan Williams dropping down to second. He's definitely had some speed this season, but I think it's just been luck that's plagued him. He's not had the best luck, as Justin Seidel sends it under the 24 of Joey Hightower to take third away.
And here comes Fitzwater in the number 9. I mean, Fitzwater, it has been a tough season for him. 35th in points coming into this race. Only Joey Hightower and Elijah Gordon are below him in full-time standings. Hightower is actually ahead of him on the racetrack right now. But he's been involved in wreck after wreck and mechanical issue after mechanical issue, and hopefully he'll be able to close something out here today. But Aliera, Daytona 500 champion, she's going to move to the inside for the 5th position. A great run for her. She really hasn't been up front that much since that Daytona 500 race victory, but trying to rebound there. And Chase Buck with a good run here in the 32 for Pacific Racing. Christian Master also up here as Dale Johnson the second slammed the outside wall off the exit at turn 4.
That's Sprint Series driver not having much experience in the Cup cars. Maybe a bit of frustration getting to him after getting shuffled down out of the lead from those pit stops up for no fault of his own. It's just
a tough break there for Dale Johnson. And the number 96 after leading the first 11 laps of this race. Matt Tuck, and boy, I know he's feeling it after that Phoenix race where he led 61 laps in that event. He's going to go 3 wide. If that doesn't tell you he's going for it, and he's going past the guy who won last week, Braden Perez, who kind of stole that win away. Now, granted, Matt Tuck did lose the race lead from one of those restarts, and it was coming to the last restart of the race where he blew his engine. He still would have gotten a great finish regardless if that did not happen, even though he probably wasn't going to get the race victory, but fell all the way back to 35th, I do believe, and lost a lot of ground on the point standings, and that's when San Mateo took the points lead back away. But speaking of San Mateo, obviously we saw him earlier on getting caught up in that accident, and he's kind of mired deep in the field after having a really good season to start off. Obviously the points leader coming into this race, but not much going for him right now. But lots going for LJ Semedo in this 71, and he's shown a lot of strength so far this season, especially recently, and he's looking to get his first career win on the channel. Never gone the victory lane before, even though he is a Cup Series veteran. But Justin Seidel, what's going to mention when you picked Seidel earlier on that he won the Wawa Pro Series race that we had here last year in this exact car. I mean, not for Groton Autosport, but in the next-gen car. We haven't had many races in the next-gen car. Obviously, a new car, a lot of different things going on underneath the hood and everything. And Justin Seidel won at this very racetrack, given this very type of car. So, no surprise to see him run well here for Groton Autosport. That team has been very well this season, of course, with the exception of what happened to him last week in Matt Tuck. Logan Williams, though, I know you guys are working a lot to have a good, strong team in that Chevy organization, and Logan Williams holding on to this 3rd position right now here for your organization. And almost 3 wide there is Trinity Ida. Chase Buck and Aliera go 3 wide. They went 3 wide for a split second. And Chase Buck going to take 4th away from the number 5.
Looks like Trinity Ida was going to try to do what Matt Tuck did, but just didn't have enough room as Chase Buck probably came to the bottom to block.
Joey Hightower here on the inside lane of Aliera. Zachary Fitzwater holding on to the top 10 run. And Matt Tuck, I'm telling you, he's coming through this field. I'd watch out for him as this race goes along. He's got a chip on his shoulder after what happened to him last week. Do you think this 54 might get up to the front? I mean, those Groton Autosport machines are really fast. We saw Matt Tuck go through the field in the last restart at Las Vegas to get a top 5. Do you think he's going to have a shot at the win here today?
I think he very well could. That 54 looks like he's on rails, and I have no doubt that Matt Tuck's probably driving angry right now. He is looking fast out there.
And if you look at the fastest lap, he's got the 2nd fastest lap of the race right now in that 54 machine. So we're starting to close in on the point in time where the tire wear is getting significant enough where these guys are going to have a little bit more difficulty making passes on the racetrack. So these guys definitely want to do all they can to get their positions. LJ Semedo has his position, though, leading this field by a second on Justin Seidel and Logan Williams, and then Fourth place is now Trinity Ida in the number 94 with Chase Buck and Joey Hightower. Matt Tuck up to 7th in that 54 machine. And then Christian Master, Blaine Keys. And after Blaine Keys won the Mellow Yellow Smooth Fest, we really haven't seen much of him in the regular season, but a top 10 run for him right now. And then Thomas Troxel there rounds out the top 10 here. Fisher G looking on Eric Monaco just outside the top 10. And then you have Brad Stover and Jim Vincent left, one of the other Sprint Series drivers. A great run for him. Of course, his teammate is leading this field right now with LJ Sameto at Titan Fury Racing. Well, things have calmed down a little bit out here. How do you think this race is going to play out as we go along?
I think with a long green flag run like this, I think one of the big things it's going to come down to is strategy. I think the undercut is going to be very, very powerful here. So you want to try to utilize that as much as possible.
Absolutely, especially when the fall-off is near 3.5 to 4 seconds a lap. If you come down early enough, you're going to have a great opportunity of gaining on everybody ahead of you or gaining on everyone behind you, depending on where you are when you take that undercut. But the one thing you have to worry about is if a caution comes out while you're a lap down, and you lose all that track position. So it is a relatively easy pit lane for these guys to get down, but sometimes they have issues, and that's just something to keep in mind when if we get to a green flag cycle of pit stops in this race. Matt Tuck going to get around Joey Hightower and Trinity Ida. He's now in the top 5 in that 54 machine. This 54 is looking really strong here. Of course, Chase Buck, he won here in the Trinity River Cup Series. I know that because I called that race with Josh a couple weeks ago, I should say. And here he is running in the 4th position. Both of these guys could be very top shots to win this event as we go on. Trinity Ida doing a great job. Best run of the season for her, holding on to a top 10 run. Blaine Keys is now 7th. Christian Master comes into this race 3rd in points, and he is 9th. And then Thomas Troxel there. Actually, Master's now 8th. Troxel taking 9th away from Hightower. Got stuck on the outside, and Eric Monaco looking to take top 10 position away from the 24 Racing Motorsports, Pacific Racing, and Grattan Autosport. Both of the drivers inside the top 10 right now for all 3 of those teams, so they're looking really strong right here at Rockingham. One other driver I want to mention, 2nd in points, Echo Evans Ross. Of course, Sam Medeiros had his fair share of issues here today, as we saw earlier on. That Echo Evans Ross did not get a good start there, as she started very well but fell way to the back instantly. She's now in the 29th position, and she does have some damage on the right-hand side of her car.
Not a good run for her at all. It has gone way south for her since the start of this race.
We're still very early on in this race, only lap 36 of 99. Of course, the longest race we've ever run at this racetrack on this channel, so a lot of possibilities of what could happen. Here we go for 4th. Matt Tuck taking 4th away, and Blaine Keys looking to take the 6th position away from Trinity Ida right behind those drivers there. And the 55 is going to make that one look easy on the 97. Now, all the races this season have been won by Ford except for last week when Braden Perez won in a Dodge. And we got a Dodge leading right now. So the Fords and the Dodges, they've been doing an excellent job this season, but the Chevys and the Toyotas haven't been as strong. Now, I think Pacific Racing is a team that could definitely get something done. Hamill Racing Enterprises as well. At some point, they could definitely have a lot of strength as we go on throughout the season. But do you think those Fords and Dodges may have something that the other teams don't have this season?
Well, I don't know. The Fords and the Dodges have just looked... They have had a lot of speed this season as Matt Tuck is attacking Logan Williams for 3rd.
This 54 is on rails right now, but you got to keep in mind we're getting to the point where the tire wear is going to really start to come into effect here. Now, we came down about lap 15, I do believe, so that means about lap 68, lap 69, around the time that we'll probably see the cycle begin if we remain green, and then that, of course, will be the last pit stop of the race. But once we get to that point, these guys are going to be way off the pace compared to what they are right now. And like I said, about a 3.5 second fall off per lap. Troxel on Trinity Ida right here. That's for the 7th position. And this is definitely one of those racetracks, especially if we get a green flag run, where the ratings are really going to come into play on how well these drivers do throughout the field. It's going to be fascinating to see if LJ Sameto can keep his lead as this race goes along, or if someone like Matt Tuck closes in on him, because this 54 seems to have one of the fastest cars on the racetrack right now, and he might get around Logan Williams here in just a couple laps.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think if anyone challenge the 71 of LJ Cemento. I think it's that car right there.
Matt Tuck
54. Matt Tuck.
Already won a race this season at the Auto Club Speedway. It's Trinity Ida, Thomas Troxel, they're swapping positions. Ida back to the inside of Troxel there for the 7th place. Master comfortably in 9th, and then Eric Monaco rounding out the top 10 right there. These guys have definitely spread out at this point here at the Rockingham Speedway, which is a good sign that we could go caution-free to the end of the race. We're just going to have to see how that all goes down. Nicholas Amadio trying to move up to the field even after he spun right there, currently running in the 30th position. Oh, he's gained a few positions since then, but not really much going for our points leader here. And I mentioned Amadio here at Rockingham because he actually won the sprint race that went along with the Wawa Pro Series last year here at the Rockingham Speedway. So he has won before at this racetrack in a next-gen car. But obviously not a good qualifying effort for Sam Badillo, and that really put him deep in the field. We're kind of cycling out here. Troxel again on Trinity Ida. And a Christian Master going to take advantage of that as well on the 43 machine. And Matt Tuck to the inside of Logan Williams. That's for 3rd place. And now Matt Tuck inside the top 3. And he's in a position where if he gets a good pit stop, he could definitely take advantage of Zidell and LJ Cemento here and possibly have an opportunity at the race victory. Blaine Keys is another driver I'd watch out for here. He's not really had an opportunity at a race victory yet this season, but if you give him one, he might go and try something in that 55 machine, and watch out for that 55, and also watch out for Chase Buck. I think these 4 guys are all going to have a good shot, but Cemeto's got a 4-second lead right now, and we're not even halfway through this race. A great run for the 71, and that machine is also on rails here today in this Cheerwine 400.
Yeah, without a doubt, to pull out 4 seconds like that is just amazing. That 71 has a ton of speed here today.
Absolutely. We're just going to have to see if anyone undercuts behind him here once we get to the cycle of pit stops here. Justin Zidell, great run for him here for Grattan Autosport. For Zidell, comes into this race 13th in points. Been a pretty solid run for him in the championship so far. He's going for his first ever Cup Series race victory. He was a Cup Series owner for the longest time in the old Chick-fil-A Cup Series and NOFSRL Cup Series. This is his first ever run as a driver in a Cup Series here on the channel, and he's done an excellent job with his teammate Matt Tuck at Grattan Autosport. Chase Buck here trying to get one done for Pacific Racing. This team looking very strong, and of course Blaine Keys in the 55. Definitely wants to rebound after his mediocre start to the season. 23rd in points. He's yet to get a top 10 in the points-paying race this season. But currently running that right now. Brian Webb has moved inside the top 10. He's now up to the 9th position there for Team Williams. Of course, they won at Phoenix last week with Braden Perez. And speaking of Perez, solid run for him here. Currently running 14th in the number 23 machine. And with some good luck on the pit lane, he could find himself in the top 10 position before the end of this race.
That's good. Nice runs back-to-back from Perez, and like you said, if they maybe utilize that undercut, we could see Perez maybe even move his way into the top 10.
We'll have to see how it all goes down. Of course, normally if we had remained green up to this point, we'd be just a few laps away from pit stops, but since we came down the pit lane around lap 15, still got a little ways to go before we get to that point. These guys are all on each other. Chase Buck, Blaine Keys, Logan Williams, Thomas Troxel, all battling for position right there as Matt Tuck starts to pull away there from the 4th position drivers, and Matt Tuck in the 3rd position looking to get around Justin Zidell and maybe have a shot at Cemento here for this race victory, but Cemeto's got options because he can go a couple laps longer and still have enough of a cushion on all the drivers behind him. But who knows, we could see a caution if we're not careful, especially when these guys speed it up with the fresher tires. They really like to fly around this racetrack, and if they're not careful, they could cause an accident. We'll just have to see if that, in fact, becomes an issue. I think Brian Webb's pretty quick right here in the 13 machine. He's moving up through the field very well. And, you know, this is one of the tracks where we see comers and goers. Some of these guys, they have much more of an advantage than others as this run goes along. You know, we saw guys like Christian Master run closer to the front earlier on. He's starting to fall back, unfortunately, in the 43 machine. Same for Zachary Fitzwater, Allier. They were running up front earlier on. Joey Hightower as well. They seem to be struggling here on the other side of the long run here at Rockingham.
And I think a driver that's struggling a lot right now is that 96 of Dale Johnson. He has fallen all the way back to Oh, yeah.
All the way back to a position we don't know the number for. 36
Yeah,
right now for Dale Johnson. A bit of a struggle. He had his moments up front, but once he got that damage from hitting the outside wall, I think that slowed him down quite a bit. Rogel-Dorn trying to get to the inside of him right there. Rogel-Dorn's also hit that outside wall. Of course, we review the accidents after the race is done, so we don't exactly know what went down as lap traffic getting in the way here. LJ Semedo on Brady Mardi Gras here. It's the first time I think we've really run into natural lap traffic here at Rockingham before. So this is going to get kind of interesting as LJ Semedo going to get to the inside and make easy work on that 73 machine. And interestingly enough, LJ Semedo, like I mentioned, going for his first career win on the channel. He has never won before on this channel. Of course, he's been in the Cup Series in the past, but had a shot last week at Phoenix, a great run over there. And this win, of course, assuming he gets the race victory, would easily put him into the top 10 in points after 6 races, as someone has blown up Roberto Crown Jr., and they have had such a tough season in this 21. It's not been a good year for him, and this could bring out a caution if he stops where he is. He is on the apron, however, and they might let it slide, and I think they will. He was not on the racing surface at the time of him stopping on the racetrack, so no issue there. But we saw that occur at Phoenix as Matt Tuck has gotten around Justin Zaidel for second. Hopefully I'll remember the replay of that, and you guys see that in the corner of your screen. But just one little thing like that can derail the entire race, and we saw the result of that last week at Phoenix when Matt Tuck was clear on his way to race victory, and then Luna Lona blew an engine and they called the caution out, and then we had another caution and another caution, and Braden Perez ended up getting the race victory. LJ Semedo isn't safe, and it's not safe until that checkered flag flies here at Rockingham.
That is a tough break for Roberto Crown Jr., currently 22nd in points. That is not going to help him at all. But still a long ways in the race to go, and as Matt Tuck's up to second, definitely showing that he's got some speed.
Absolutely.
Could probably challenge that 71.
I think if he can put an undercut on this 71 machine, once we get to this cycle, he could have a shot at getting the 71, assuming we stay green. I have a feeling we may end up with another caution, though, because that was just one mechanical issue there out of the 21. We could easily see another one as this race goes along. The longer the green flag run, the more likely it is. Reliability could become an issue, and if a car stops the right place, they will call the caution out for it. Chase Buck all over Justin Zaidel. Zaidel kind of losing a little bit of speed right here. Still a solid run for him regardless, but this 51 struggling just a little bit here, trying to hold off Chase Buck. Blaine Keys inside the top 5. Troxel's done a great job here. Both of the Pacific Racing cars have done an excellent job here today at Rockingham. Thomas Troxel there running in the 6th position. Trinity Ida, got to give a lot of credit to Ida here in the 97. Best run for her by far this season, and hopefully she can pull off a top 10 out of this one. Logan Williams has fallen off a little bit there for your team there, Caleb, but in the 8th position, then Brian Webb and Eric Monaco with the top 10. Now, I will say, when Matt Tuck got around Justin Zaidel, he was able to stay within 6 seconds of the 71. He's actually closed in the lead a little bit. That 54 is still the fastest car on the racetrack, but the thing is, if this race stays green, will he have enough time to catch up to LJ Semedo even with the cycle of pit stops? It's going to be interesting to see if that is in fact the case. When we cross the line here, we got ourselves under 40 laps to go here in the Cheerwine 400 for LJ Semedo on the 71 team. But we're closing in now on that cycle of green flag pit stops. It's going to be very fascinating to see who gets the advantage once all of this is said and done.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna.
And here we go. I think Samadio's going to start it off here. He's going to try for the undercut. I mean, why not? He's already at the back of the field. Good strategy here out of your team. And LJ Semedo's going to follow suit right behind him.
Oh, and Matt Tuck's going to stay out. That might not be a good call from that 54 team.
I think they're all going to hope for a caution to come out there. All those guys staying out right there, because LJ Semedo, if this thing cycles through, he's going to have like a 10-second lead once it's all said and done right here, because he was not wasting any time. I think that's a good call there out of Semedo if he wants to try to seal this race victory. It seems like we could probably get through the cycle without a caution. Hopefully that'll be the case. But it's a little difficult coming down the pit lane here, and these guys have to be careful. Zaidel's down, Chase Buck is down, Trinity Ida, Brian Webb, Logan Williams, and now we got a bunch of guys coming down the pit lane here, all throughout the entire field. I think Matt Tuck is still out there leading a couple laps, getting some bonus points, but I don't know if he's really going to get a chance at the race victory, staying out 2 laps on LJ Semedo. If we have that 3.5-second fall off, that's 7 seconds lost for Matt Tuck, under the assumption that that's how it goes. Blaine Keys, Thomas Trox is going to come down here as well, and look at how much faster the 71 is. He was driving around his teammates there, Trinity, or Titan Fury Racing. I keep on making that mistake. And much more speed on that 71 machine as he's looking to cycle through back to the race lead.
Yeah, with as fast as a car as Matt Tuck has, I don't know if this is a good strategy to stay out as long as he could, because that 71 is going to have a huge lead after the cycles through.
Absolutely, and Matt Tuck can't risk going fuel. Obviously can't do fuel only or 2 tires because he's going to lose a lot of time, and already Semedo has passed him. Matter of fact, a lot of other guys, Now, he was the first one off of all the guys who came down with him there, but he's obviously going to be much further back. Now, Semedo's got to be careful getting around the lap traffic. Now, he's mired in traffic here, and he's got to be careful not to get caught up in anything. He's got Trey Bartologoldoran ahead of him right there. And I think it's going to cycle through right here to Semedo being the new race leader. Second place, we'll have to see who it is, where they are, because they're going to be quite a ways behind. I think it is Matt Tuck who's second, and just as I said, 10-second lead there for LJ Semedo. Semedo's putting on a clinic here at Rockingham. I'm not seeing anyone do something quite like this in an NR race at an oval track before. We've seen it at road courses, but this is something else. LJ Semedo is unstoppable here today in this Cheerwine 400, going for his first career win, but he's got to be careful not to get caught up in anything here as he goes through lap traffic.
Yeah, that's LJ Semedo channeling some of that energy that the Red Bull Racing team had in Bahrain this year. He is absolutely gone in that 71, probably just in cruise control right now with the big of lead he has.
He's got to be careful with all these lap cars. Of course, all these lap cars are going just as fast as he is, as they all got fresh tires now. Tanner Parton, Trey Bartow ahead of him right there. Ruggles Dorn and Brad Stover kind of mixing it up with them, and I don't know. If I'm Matt Tuck, I'm hearing this from my spotter that number 71's in lap traffic, and I got a clear racetrack ahead of me if I'm Matt Tuck. And these 3 guys may try to close in here. I mean, you still got a little ways left to go. Still over 20 laps left in this race here. Actually, still over 30 laps left in this race, excuse me. So, still got a little ways to go before we get to that checkered flag. So, a lot can happen between now and the finish. And we saw what happened at Phoenix when Luna Lona blew an engine. The caution came out, and then everyone got stacked up again, and then it was just chaos from there. The good thing for Semedo is he's lapped enough drivers where he's going to have a bit of a cushion on the second-place driver, but still, you can't get caught up in anything, and we saw 2 more wrecks after that initial caution last week at Phoenix, so Semedo's not in the clear yet, but as long as he keeps it clean and everybody else keeps it clean and this race stays green, I think Semedo has an easy race victory here at the Rockingham Speedway. But what do you think, Caleb? Do you think we'll be able to go green flag to the end? We've had a pretty long green flag run up to this point, but you never know what could happen here at the Rockingham Speedway.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. You never know what can really happen, especially with the race winding down. The anticipation is growing.
Boy.
And we see
Right
Brad
there
Stover
might not be what Semedo wants.
trying to get his lap back. He's going to lead a trail of lap cars to Semedo's inside.
And they will get their laps back, and with all those guys repassing that 71, we have 27 drivers on the lead lap. A lot of guys going a lap down after that cycle of pit stops, including Joey Hightower, who was up front earlier on in the run. 71 laps in for the number 71 of LJ Semedo. He's obviously led the most laps here today, but last week when Matt Tuck led 61 of the 78 laps we had at Phoenix, he didn't go on to get the race victory. He finished in the 30s. So Semedo's hoping that he can have some good luck here at the end of this one. Oh, an issue!
Oh, the yellow flag
is out. And the caution's out. And this changes everything. Somebody had an issue, and it was Justin Zeidel who was running third at the time. And the other Grattan Autosport driver with a good run, he's going to fail to finish here today at the Rockingham Speedway. And that is exactly what Matt Tuck wanted. Now, I'm wondering what happened here. This probably happened off of the exit at turn number 4, and Zeidel either ran into somebody who blew up, which is very possible, or may have just got caught up with somebody. Sam Medio's got a bit of a buckle on his hood right there. I'm wondering if he got caught up in this one. There's not really much to tell. Oh, Eric Monaco, Dale Johnson. And Logan Williams may have gotten a piece of it as well. Yikes. Now, this is the interesting thing. LJ Semedo, will they come down the pit lane? That's the interesting thing. If you come down here, you're going to have a lot more speed than everybody ahead of you. And there's still plenty of time left in this race to get an advantage. It's going to be fascinating to see if any of these drivers, in fact, do that. So we're going to follow here. They just took the pace car, so we're going to go ahead and see if anyone does, in fact, come down the pit lane here. LJ Semedo, the race leader, is kind of a sitting duck right here. I think whatever he does, if the other drivers behind him do the opposite, they might have an advantage, but I think everyone is going to stay out. Pace car remaining out there, of course, and looks like everyone's going to just go ahead and call it on the pit lane. But now the big question is, will Semedo be able to get a good jump here on the restart? If he gets stuck in that outside lane, Matt Tuck is there, Brian Webb is here, Trinity Ida, Thomas Troxel, Chase Buck. How about Chris Reynolds inside the top 10? Great run for him right there. Drew Webb, Jim Vincent left with a great run, and then Zachary Fitzwater, the top 10. Well, let's go ahead and see what happened to bring out the second caution of the day. It looked like we had a pretty big accident. It took out one of the contenders here with Justin Zeidel. It looks like it may have been a big one here in the Cheerwine corner. Let's see what happened to bring it out here at the Rockingham Speedway. Well, this one started down Thunder Alley down the backstretch. Echo Evans, Ross, and Dale Johnson the second here. And Echo, a little bit too much speed there in the 96. Obviously his first ever Cup race went in there a little too slow, and Echo was not expecting that. And she ran right into that 96 machine. And you may be wondering, how did Zeidel and all these guys get caught up? Well, this is a very high-banked racetrack, and what goes up must come down. And Justin Zeidel's going to come in here and have one of the moments of all time. Right on the rear end there of Echo Evans Ross. A tough break. He was running in the second position, and then Chase Buck gets a piece of this one in the 32 as well. I think Chase Buck's going to fall back after this. Something we didn't notice when we came back, so that's something that did happen right there. Look at Thomas Troxel in the 62. He's going to barely avoid this one, but the driver right behind him, and your driver, Caleb, I tell you, it's just not been your day. Logan Williams there, just barely getting in to Dale Johnson, just enough to garner some damage. And then Eric Monaco and Nicholas Samadillo getting caught up again. Monaco's been caught up in a lot of wrecks this season. Las Vegas, he was caught up in 3 wrecks. I think that was it, though. I think everybody else avoided major contact, so that could have been a lot worse, but it's going to take out the second-place running driver of Justin Zeidel and Grattan Autosport there. But they still have Matt Tuck out there, and they're going to be a little ways behind LJ Semedo on this restart because of the lap traffic, but that 54, as we have seen, has been really fast. We'll have to see what he can do on the restart. But first, let's go ahead and replay this in real time.
Coming into turn number 3, Echo just accidentally hooks the 96 of Dale Johnson hard into the outside wall. And they're just going to slide down the banking and nowhere for the 51 or the 32 to go. Everyone trying to take evasive action. Thomas Troxel right through the middle. And everyone behind him, like Logan and Samadillo and Monaco, not as lucky.
Thankfully, we only had as many drivers as we did get caught up in the accident. But, yeah, that was one of the moments of all time right there. But it's going to set up a restart. Nobody came down the pit lane. LJ Semedo, the race leader, but 5 lap cars in between him and second place, Matt Tuck. And I know Matt Tuck's thinking about last week. He is going to be hard charging for this race win here at Rockingham. Let's see what happens on the restart here in the Cheerwine 400 in the Wawa Cup Series. We're back here at the Rockingham Speedway, the Cheerwine 400 in the Wawa Cup Series. LJ Semedo has put on a clinic here today. But he's going to have to fend off a restart. Now, unlike last week, he does not have the race leader, or second place, I should say, directly behind him. He has 5 lap cars in between him and Matt Tuck. He's all the way there in the second position behind Blaine Keys. Brian Webb there in third, Trinity Ida in fourth, and then Thomas Troxel rounds out the top 5 as we get back to racing here with 25 laps to go. Going to be 24 laps to go when we cross the line. A lot of guys out of the race after that one. Logan Williams, Eric Monaco, Justin Zeidel, Dale Johnson the second. And then, of course, Brady Mardi Gras had an issue, and obviously we saw what happened to Roberto Crown Jr. as well. And then Blaine Keys had a slow pit stop. He's 5 laps down right now after running pretty well earlier on in the race. They're 3 wide there as lap cars.
Oh, boy.
And Matt Tuck's got to be careful trying to get around these guys. And the good thing for Matt Tuck, he is much closer to this 71. So even if Cemento doesn't get stuck in that outside lane by these lap cars, that 54 could reel him in. That's Skylar Taylor in the 45. Sprint Series driver. Blaine Key's looking pretty fast. Remember, he was on the pit lane for an extended period of time, 5 laps down, but he was running with the leaders. He may actually be faster than Cemento, and I'm sure Matt Tuck would love to see that 55 make a pass to the inside there to get one of his laps back, and I think Blaine Keys is going to do that. Moving to the inside of LJ Cemento. That's going to put Cemento on the outside lane here, and Matt Tuck in the 54 looking to have a shot at this race win. Looking for those roles to reverse right here after what happened to him at Phoenix last week.
Exactly what Matt Tuck wanted, and he is closer to Cemento than he has this race. But he still has a lapped car in between him and the 71.
You know, he wants to make light work here of Skylar Taylor, while still maintaining a good distance to Cemento. Cemento's not running as fast right now as this 54. Matt Tuck is on a rail here at Rockingham. Like he has been at a lot of races this season, especially Phoenix last week. And Matt Tuck's yet to lead a lap here in this race, but he's going for his 2nd win of the season. He's got a good opportunity, but he's got to get around this 45. I don't know. He's kind of using this 45 to his advantage, kind of pushing that 45 to the 71. I'm wondering if he's trying to get Skylar Taylor to make a move on Cemento, who he's going to push him up. Great opportunity for Matt Tuck right here to move to the inside of Taylor and get him out of the way, and now he's going to have the back bumper on Cemento for this race lead.
Here we go. He's gotten past the 45. Now it's just Cemento and Tuck. This is shaping up to be a good finish here.
It absolutely is. LJ Cemento at one point had a 10-second lead in this race, and now he's going to have to fend off Matt Tuck for this race victory in these last 20 laps. Thomas Troxel. How about Jim Vinson left in the 07? Great runs for those drivers. Trinity Itis still top 5 right here in the 97. Ryan Webb fell back a little bit there. Chase Buck, Chris Reynolds, a great run for him. Fisher G and Christian Vargas inside the top 10 right now. A lot of drivers finding their way inside the top 10 late in the going here that were not up there earlier on in the race. But this race victory going to be between these two guys. And here comes Matt Tuck in the 54. Right on the back bumper of LJ Cemento, and to the inside for the race lead on lap 83 of the race now, and he's going to make that one look easy. New race leader here in the Cheerwine 400. It's Matt Tuck in the 54, taking it away from LJ Cemento.
The car had the speed to do that, and he's finally going to get it done on lap 83, but this race still isn't over yet. But now he has a lap car as a buffer. The 45 is of Skylar Taylor.
Watch out for the 62 of Thomas Troxel. He is really fast. Daniel Paulus Jr. just ahead of Troxel right here. Going to try to get around him. Paulus going to put a block on the 62 machine right there. LJ Cemento holding on to 2nd right now on the 71 machine. That's got to hurt for Cemento. Now, the thing, what happened last week, Matt Tuck was still going to get a top 5 if he didn't blow his engine on the penultimate lap. Cemento's probably hoping that he can at least get a top 5 out of this one because it's a long season ahead. He might actually be hoping to get the race lead back away because Skylar Taylor found a way around Matt Tuck, and that slowed up that 54 just enough for Cemento to have a shot here. That 54 able to get back to that inside lane, and he may actually cross back over on Skylar Taylor. So very interesting what's going on with the lap traffic right here. But Matt Tuck's got to be careful. Obviously, we saw what happened to Justin Zidell, and have to see if Matt Tuck can in fact keep it clean. And I'm sure what happened last week is in Matt Tuck's mind as Nicholas Samedio's out of the race. We're going to have a new points leader after this one, no doubt about it. And Samedio's day has gone from bad to worse right there on the number 59. It's been a bad day for your team, Caleb. It's a tough break for Appalachian Motorsports here.
Yeah, but, you know, these things just happen sometimes. So.
They do. So NR2003 for you. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Matt Tuck, though, hoping that he gets a race victory here at Rockingham. It'd be his 2nd win of the season. And already within 6 races, we'll have 2 drivers who have won multiple races. Of course, Aliera won the first 2 races of the season, and Matt Tuck won Auto Club earlier in the year. Looking to get this one here at Rockingham. Daniel Paulus Jr. trying to get on Cemento. I feel like Troxel has a shot here, but he can't get around this 44 machine, and these guys just getting held up right now on this 44. Daniel Paulus Jr. is a lap down. But running 25th, solid run. He was in the booth with us on Wednesday night. Great to have him in the booth, and I know he's excited about this season here in the Wawa Cup Series. First ever run here on the channel. And trying to get something to go his way there for William Brock's team in Full Frontal Motorsports, and finally give way to Thomas Troxel. The Troxel, Semedo, and Tuck, they're kind of all on each other. No lap cars in between them. We'll have to see if Troxel finds a way around Matt Tuck here in these last 10 laps. But Matt Tuck and the 54, these guys at Grattan Autosport have been some of the fastest drivers all season long. And Matt Tuck looking to take this points lead back away with a possible race victory. But they got to get around Echo Evans Ross right here, and that was close. And Troxel for second on LJ Semedo. And Troxel's now going to have to get around this 39 machine. As Skylar Taylor moves back to the inside of Matt Tuck. Oh boy, Troxel may have a shot here, guys. This 62 is going to get an advantage here. As Tuck went way on the outside, as Skylar Taylor got back around to get his lap back. And now Thomas Troxel is right there closing in on Matt Tuck for the race lead.
Very risky move by Matt Tuck going to the outside of Echo Ross, and it looks like it might have paid off in the short term, but on the long term, this is not working out for him.
And we see the lap traffic always come into effect at Daytona. It's coming into effect here. Now Seth Cole in the 82, another slow car. Of course, we have a lot of slow cars from that accident, and because of that, these guys are having to maneuver every which way to get around these lap machines. Matt Tuck's going to be able to get around Seth Cole, but so will Thomas Troxel, and here comes the 62. Pacific Racing will get their first win of the season here, and Troxel pretty much out of nowhere here, now right on the back bumper of Matt Tuck, trying to take this race win away late in the going in the Cheerwine 400. Got to give a lot of credit, though, to Skylar Taylor. He's keeping the speed up with our race leaders right now. Great run off the corner for Matt Tuck right there. Troxel did not get a good exit. Jim Vincent left, Sprint Series driver, running in a podium position right now as he gets around his teammate LJ Semedo. Great run for Vincent left in this one, the Sprint Series driver.
Yeah, that is a really good run for Vincent Leff. Started all the way in the back, and he has climbed his way through the field all throughout the race and is currently sitting in third. A great run for him.
But I think this race victory is going to either go to Troxel or Matt Tuck. Troxel has a shot, but this 54 has clear and away been one of the fastest cars in this race. Drew Webb actually has the fastest lap, but the fastest lap does not award you a bonus point like it used to in the Pro Series or in F1. Do things a little bit more old school here. Thomas Troxel, though, he's going to get a decent amount of points in this one. He comes into this race 15th in the standings, only one top 10 on the year so far for him, and he's going to have an opportunity here. We're pretty much at the point of no return now here at Rockingham. If we were to get a caution, that'd be it. And Troxel with a great run off the exit of turn 2 and to the inside for the race lead. Will he be able to get it to stick on the 54? He's got it, and he's going to get Skylar Taylor to move to the inside as well, and he's going to have a buffer. New race leader with 4 laps to go, Thomas Troxel here at Rockingham.
He executed that move perfectly, waited till the perfect time to get underneath the 54 so that the 45 would also get underneath as well.
Wow.
And now he's got a huge buffer to Tuck, and they are slipping back as Troxel pulls away.
And Tuck way up high. He's losing in that 54. He may have used up his stuff early on in that run. And Troxel was able to save his tires up. And that's what you got to do. That's how Dale Johnson won the Sprint Series race. He kind of waited early on to be aggressive. And even though that was only a 25-lap race, that worked out well for Dale Johnson to get the win on Wednesday. And Thomas Troxel, I believe, may have just done the same thing. This one kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, Troxel was top 10 most of this race, but when we had that restart, we thought Semedo was going to have a very good shot. Matt Tuck, we knew was fast, got right to the race lead, but then Troxel out of nowhere with 2 laps to go here in the Cheerwine 400 that get his first win of the season.
Well, as you said earlier in this race has a lot of comers and goers, and we are definitely seeing it now. Coming down the backstretch with 1.5 laps to go.
Jim Vincent left might get second here on Matt Tuck. Great run for him. Semedo's going to still get a top 5 out of this one, assuming he doesn't blow his engine on the penultimate lap. Here we go. White flag in the air in the Cheerwine 400 for Thomas Troxel and Brennan Wilmington. Pacific Racing only get their first win of the season. And Brennan said, oh, our team's going to be terrible this year. They've been pretty solid, and they're about to get to Body Armor Victory Lane. We're still going to call it that here in the Wawa Cup Series. And I think Thomas Troxel's going to pull it off here in the number 62. Off at turn 4. Troxel gets the dub here at the Rock, and he does it in style, leading only 5 laps in the Cheerwine 400. Matt Tuck will get second. So he's going to, more than likely, retain the points lead. And then Jim Vincent left. A great run for the Sprint Series driver in third. LJ Semedo. And how about Brian Webb there? Team Williams. Another solid run here in the Wawa Cup Series. But Thomas Troxel pulls it off. That is Troxel's, let's see here, Troxel's 12th career win on the channel and his 4th in the Cup Series. Kind of stole that one there at the end, but how about that? Great run for Pacific Racing at the end of this race.
Yeah, great run for Troxel. Great run for Pacific Racing. And like I said, Troxel only led 5 laps of this race, but it doesn't matter how many laps you lead as long as you lead the last one.
Absolutely. Well, Matt Tuck's probably still feeling a little bit better today than he did last week. Second place, he got a lap led, of course, so a great amount of points for Matt Tuck in terms of the championship, but Troxel just had the speed at the end, and I think I'm starting to see a bit of a pattern on who may be strong this season here in the Wawa Cup Series. I mean, Matt Tuck's been up front in a lot of these races so far. Obviously, we saw what he did at Las Vegas, even though he wasn't running up front a majority of that race. Got a top 5 there. Led 61 laps last week. Almost won this one. Won at Auto Club. That team may be the championship favorite at the moment, but I have a good feeling about Pacific Racing as well, especially now Thomas Troxel, now that he's gotten this race victory at Rockingham. Those guys could have a shot. And LJ Semedo led the most laps here today at Rockingham and would have won this race had that wreck not occurred there. But just like Phoenix, you know, wreck occurs, they get all bunched up. And LJ Semedo even had 5 lap cars in between him and Matt Tuck there. Just couldn't pull it off. Just didn't quite have the speed at the end and lost that large buffer that he had going from the green flag run into the caution. Only had 22 drivers finish on the lead lap in this race. A lot of guys got caught a lap down because of the long green flag run and the pit stop and then the wreck. Obviously, all the guys getting caught up in that one. Such an interesting incident. I don't know what happened because, like I said, we reviewed the accidents after we record the race. Kukulon with an issue right at the start of the race. Obviously, we saw what happened to him there in the corner of your screen. And then Roberto Crown Jr. also with a mechanical issue. And Brady Mardi Gras also got knocked out. Hopefully, you guys caught all of that. You know, a lot of little replays here and there. But I try to remember to get all that captured for you guys so you see it. But Caleb, this is your first race in the booth with me. That was an interesting race for your first race in the booth. And how do you think this is going to translate to the rest of the season here in the Wawa Cup Series?
Yeah, I think this was a great race to have my first co-commentator role. This was an incredible race. Just one of those good classic Rockingham races. But like you said, I think we're starting to see trends on who the quicker cars are, who some of the quicker drivers are. Like Pacific Racing, Thomas Troxel, Grattan Autosport, Matt Tuck, Justin Zeidel. Start to see some of those guys emerge in the top 5, top 10 more often. It's definitely shaping up to be a good season.
Absolutely. It's going to get interesting, and we're just getting started, folks. Only the 6th race of the season. Hey, we're now a 5th of the way through the season, though, so, you know, we've got 4 more 5ths left to go. So, 4 more sets of 6 races each. Hey, the next race is going to be incredibly fascinating. A first-time track for the Cup Series, Circuit of the Americas. And of all the road courses we're going to this season, that is probably the hardest one to make moves. However, the pit lane is where that race is going to be won and lost, and that is going to be incredibly interesting to see how that race goes. It'll be a 2-stop race at Circuit of the Americas next Saturday at noon Eastern Time for the Rowdy Energy 375K. Hey, I'm having a Rowdy Energy right now. My favorite energy drink, and it's not because it's, you know, owned by a NASCAR driver. It's perfectly sugar-free, and it tastes great, and it's all natural. It's great. I really recommend the product if you're looking for a good energy drink. I really do. But regardless of the fact, enough of... they're not paying me to say that either. I legitimately like the product. Enough about that. Very excited to see what happens next week. IndyCar is going to be at Circuit of the Americas as well. They ran there last year. They'll be on Tuesday. Sprint Series on Wednesday, and of course next Saturday, it's the Rowdy Energy 375 from Circuit of the Americas for the 7th race of the season. That'll be a fascinating one, and it's going to be fascinating to see how these points shake up as well. I think Matt Tuck's going to take the points lead back away. Echo Evans-Ross did not have a good run in this race, neither did Nicholas Ambidio, and Christian Master finished 20th, so... I think Matt Tuck's safe to say he's going to be the new points leader, but have to see how it all shakes out after 6 races. Well, hey, Caleb, thank you so much for joining me. It was a great race here from Rockingham, and we will see you guys next week from Circuit of the Americas in the 7th race of the season in the Wawa Cup Series. Thank you guys so much for watching once again on behalf of Caleb Rose. Here are the points standings for the Wawa Cup Series after 6 races, and congratulations to Thomas Troxel on his race victory here at The Rock. I will see you guys later.